The meeting will now be called to order. This is our special call meeting for our budget. We need to stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We need to approve our agenda. If you looked at your copy, we need a motion, please.
I make a motion, we approve our agenda.
Need a second? Oh, yeah, I said, yes, I'm just not, yeah, I'm sorry. Let's, we have to have Mr. Oxley, he's still in.
That's a good one.
We do need a
appreciate
resolution.
Madam President, I recommend the board to approve the agenda.
I make that motion.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
And the motion's passed. We have our budget presentation, and we know she has a good, strong voice. This is Ms. Graves.
Thank you very much. Thank you, board. Thank you, Mr. Ethelton, and thank you to the public that has come to listen to our board presentation today. Nothing's more important than the children of DeSoto County Schools, and so this is our plan for next year, which I think is a very good plan. It's taken a lot of work, all departments coming together for what the needs are, what the wishes are, and what's best for the students. And without further ado, we will get it. Today is our budget hearing, June 11th. The budget will actually be adopted on June 20th, at 3 o'clock at the recess board meeting. And we always try and get this out of the way first. There is going to be no millage increase because of DeSoto County Schools this year. So our operational meals, last year were at 40.35. We were at 2.5 meals for the 3 meal note and 10 meals for the GO bond. This year, we're going to move 2.8 meals from the GO bond to operations. The board has already approved a resolution to issue certificates of participation, probably sometime in June or July. So the meals from the GO bond that we're moving to the operations are going to be to pay for the debt service for those certificates of participation. So last year we were at 52.85 meals. Again, when we put our request into the county, the millage will be the same as we requested last year overall. We'll start out with budget revenue. For FY 2020, our budget revenue is $311,189,567. You can compare that to the last several years. In 2019, we were at $291,815,130. Mainly that is due to our increase in MAP. That is also due to our increase in ad valorem. But those are going to be the major differences between the two. Our revenue, it comes from 3 sources. Our local revenue is at $108,428,382. That's 34.8% of our budget. Our state revenues are at $172,790,097, and the state contributes 55.5%. And our federal revenues, which relate to our total programs and our food service, is $29,971,088 at 9.7%. If you look at the graph, you can tell right there that the state does make up the majority, and then our local sources are not too far behind. So the majority of our local revenues are from ad valorem. That's about 84%. For operations, it's going to be this year $73,961,688. For our 3 meal notes, it's going to be $4,344,480. And our GO bonds is $12,685,881. Those are based on estimates by DeSoto County Administration. Of course, if we get updated ad valorem amounts between now and when we have to turn in our request on August 15th. That could possibly change, but we will base our millage exactly on what the county gives us. Our other local revenues come from donations and contributions. We do receive revenue in lieu of taxes from companies that aren't on the tax rolls yet. Interest income, student activities and fees, and breakfast and lunch are non-federally reimbursed lunches and breakfast with the food service program. Our state revenues, the majority, of course, is MAP. The state funded us at 90.9% this year. So our MAP allotment is $157,685,569. We received $7,569,211 over FY19. The legislature actually did fund the percentage-wise a little bit higher than they have in the past. But it does also include an increase in the health insurance, and it does include an increase in the retirement. That went up this year as well. What that doesn't include yet, though, state has not given us a figure on the teacher pay raise. So that will come at a later time. Other sources that are state revenues that are slightly not near MAP, but they are notable, is homestead exemption is $1,880,000. Chickasaw funds are at $5,275,660 because our district does not receive 16th section funds. We do receive Chickasaw instead. Ad valorem tax reduction fund, the state has not funded that again this year. Educational enhancement funds, $985,000, and the master teacher program, we receive about $1.2 million. Our federal revenues come from our title programs mainly. That's Title I, Title II, Title III, and Title IV, which are various programs. You have your Title I basic fund and delinquent, which is based on our free and reduced rate. Improving teacher quality is our funds that we do for staff development. Title III is for English language learners, and Title IV is for student support and academic enrichment. We also receive federal dollars for special education, our school food service, and for our MJROTC programs at Horn Lake High and Lake Former High School. MAP shortfall. MAP has been our formula since the 2002-2003 school year. Again, I think it's been funded twice since that time. So these are since inception through 2018, just because I can't fit them on the slide, we're going to move them to the next slide. So our shortfall for the 19-20 school year is $50,784,945. Our overall shortfall for MAP since the beginning of the program is $201,422,993. That would be what the formula would have provided if it had been fully funded. Our total budget expenditures are at $326,594,804. If you'll notice the little asterisk beside it, that is, I've adjusted that figure for our certificates of participation. Those will not be issued until late July, early August. So we can see apples to apples. I've taken those out at this point. So our regular expenditures, non-certificates of participation, $326,594,804 compared to last year at $315,347,384. The majority of that is going to be teacher pay raise. It is going to be some of the staff that we're going to look at in just a minute, some other additions that we have done. You'll see those in just a few slides down. So if we look at our expenditures from next year versus this year, our general funds expenditures are $256,439,692 compared to last year, $238,178,041. We've gone up about $18,261,651, and we'll discuss those increases in a little bit. Our special revenues, $43,044,066 compared to last year at $38,899,051. That's an increase of $4,145,015. Most of that's going to be in either child nutrition or in our title program. Capital projects, $3,331,133 compared to last year, $13,760,042. That will actually go down by $10 million, but those were some funds that we had over the last several years in spending on capital improvements, and those will be winding down. Our debt service will be down $3,382,087 for 2020, we expect it to be 21,128,163 versus last year 24,510,250. And this is how it comes out in our graph. If you look at the first two, which are actually our largest columns there, that says support services and instruction. When we say support services there, those are actually instructional support services. Those are people that work directly with the students. So as you can clearly see in the graph, the majority of the expenditures are always where they should be is with the students. We have a board policy that was required years ago to make sure that school districts are being fiscally responsible. So what that GASB requirement is that our board has to set a fund balance, a minimum fund balance that they require when we budget every year. We have a very conservative minimum fund balance at 25%. So 25% of our revenues, our budgeted fund balance, we are predicting $71,280,296. 25% of revenues, which will be our required fund balance, would only be $61,341,979. So we are actually budgeting above that 25% at $9,938,317, which is about a 29% fund balance reserve. Again, when we receive our funds from the state for the teacher pay raise, that will actually increase. It'll increase our budget fund balance, so it'll actually be closer probably to 31%. Is what we're going to predict. Our budget drivers, accreditation standards, how many teachers we need in the classroom, and other figures that we need to have, what we need to have at a school. Legislative mandates, ESSER requirements, that's the Every Student Succeeds Act. Those are requirements if we're going to accept federal dollars, and there are things that we have to do in our district in order to do that. Our facility and safety needs, which are always changing as our buildings get older and as we gain more kids, those are changing every year. Transportation needs, we transport more children every year. Our buses get older every year. Our major factors are teacher-pupil ratio, our required support staff, our state salary schedule, our step-up and experience. Again, this year, the teachers and the teacher assistants received a pay raise. Classroom needs and our school-level requests. Our educational investments. This year, like I said, all teachers received a $1,500 pay raise and teacher assistants received a $1,500 pay raise. A lot of people do not also understand is that we have quite a few positions in the district that are also based on the teacher scale, but they're not necessarily a classroom teacher where the state would provide that funding. So we do provide also that $1,500 pay raise to those as well. Increase in district retirement contribution. The district this year was at 15.75%. Next year, we'll be required to contribute 17.4%. And then there was an increase in the employer portion, our district portion, that we must pay on health insurance premiums for all employees. So instructional investments we made this year. We're adding 12 regular education teachers. We're adding 22 regular teacher assistants. We are going to provide a second grade teacher assistant for every second grade teacher. Currently they are sharing a teacher assistant, but we feel, especially with the third grade reading gate and the state mandates that they continue to add to that, that it would be beneficial to have more teacher assistants helping in the second grade. We're going to add 4 English language learner teachers, 9 special education teachers, 3 gifted teachers, and 1 alternative school teacher. Other educational investments, we are adding 3 guidance counselors, 1 assistant principal, 1 occupational therapist. History and geography textbook adoptions were this year. Our math textbook adoption for elementary and middle school, and our second phase for our science kits for our elementary schools. So the additional investment of what I just described is going to cost the district $10,640,000 this year. Technology investments. We'll do district-wide classroom and lab upgrades. This also includes any upgrades in Wi-Fi, things like that, at $1,485,000. Then we also give our schools $18 per child to let them decide what technology they need for their school that would be most beneficial, and that this year is going to be $612,513. In our support staff investments, we're adding a special education caseworker. We're adding a 504 coordinator, an additional psychometrist, a purchasing coordinator, excuse me, I went super fast, and additional funding for our school resource officers. For transportation, which is also considered support services, we're adding 5 minibuses. We're going to continue our upgrades this year with our cameras. We're going to add another $140,000 in camera upgrades. We're adding 15 regular route drivers, 5 special education drivers, and 5 special education bus aides. For our plant maintenance investments for this next year, we have quite a few projects that we began in FY19 but will be completed in FY20. With the ones that have the asterisk beside them, they are actually ones that we will recapture any expenditures that we've already expended in our certificates of participation, and the projects will be paid out when we receive our proceeds from those as well. Our first project, we are completing the Hernando High School Phase 2 HVAC replacement. Olive Branch Intermediate window replacement. Center Hill Elementary LED lighting retrofit. Oak Grove Classroom Addition. Addition at Hernando Elementary School. Additions at Lewisburg Elementary, more classrooms. Another classroom addition at Lewisburg Primary. DeSoto Central High School 9th grade building addition. And out of our district funds, not certificate of participation, there are about $2,441,000 in school requested projects based on needs as requested by the principal. Instructional expenditures, one of the main, we always try to keep the main thing the main thing, and 74% of all operation expenditures are directly related to instruction. And of all the salaries of our general funds, 80% of all general fund salaries and benefits are expended directly in the classroom. So our focus remains on the classroom. Some facts about DeSoto County Schools. We employ over 4,300 employees. We are the largest employer in DeSoto County. We maintain over 4.8 million square feet of facilities. That means we also do heat and air on that as well. We transport over 19,000 students daily. We have over 800 scheduled routes traveling over 2,000 miles in a year. 2 million, excuse me. No, thank you. We serve over 24,000 meals a day if you include breakfast and lunch. And our free and reduced ratio is about 53%. Some of our academic accomplishments, we actually have the highest number of board certified teachers in the state. We're very proud of that. Over $97 million in scholarships was offered to seniors. We were up from $97 million the year before, and I think it was actually $66 million the year before that. We had 20 National Merit finalists, up from 17 in FY 18-19. And we had 148 seniors that scored 30 or above on the ACT, up from 136 last year. 5 high school students scored a perfect 36. So the 148 seniors does not include all the undergrads that have actually scored over 30, which I don't even know that number, but it's very, very big. Our other accomplishments in DeSoto County, there were 2,924 opportunities for dual enrollment. That means students are getting college credit while they're in high school. Last year, it was at 1,875, so we're making significant increases in that area. And 54 students are national certification in career and technical education subject areas. We're very proud of that. Now here's the ones that everybody likes to hear. Horn Lake High, they're the 6A football state champions. DeSoto Central High, they were the 6A baseball state champions. DeSoto Central High was also the 6A state softball champion. Olive Branch High was the 5A girls basketball champion. Center Hill High, 5A boys basketball champion. Lewisburg High School, 5A boys soccer champion. Center Hill High, 5A girls dance champions. DeSoto Central High, 6A girls cheer champions. Hernando High School, 6A band champions. Lewisburg High, 5A band champions. Lake Cormorant High, JROTC champions. And this is my favorite part, where this is really what it's all about. All the numbers, there's a lot of things going on in DeSoto County, but this is where it is. We definitely have amazing students in all categories in DeSoto County schools. And that's the end product right there.
I want to start out by thanking Ms. Graves and also Ms. Graves and the business department. If you are a part of the business department, would you please stand at this time? We have several people here in the crowd. I don't like the recognition, but I'm about to give you all a big round. This budget is something that actually starts back in January. Since we come back from Christmas, it's time for budget season. And I just want to thank Ms. Graves and all the business department that's present today. I put Ms. Graves and our business people up against anybody that you'll find anywhere in America. I mean, to manage the finances for a district our size and do such a good job, we just appreciate all that you do and all that your team does too. Thank you.
I would just like to add to that, Stacy, your department, when we go to the state meeting, regional meetings, you're often told that y'all have the best finance department. So, we deeply appreciate that support.
We need a motion for adjournment.
Make that motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion is passed. That will be the end of our budget hearing, and so we appreciate all of you for coming and all the. Thank you.